Yeah, so we are one student at a time. To be honest, this organization has just gotten off the ground. We started around the beginning of lockdown, around end of March, I would say. And I actually just graduated from UCLA, and I just finished my 5th year there. And I was majoring in physiological science and also minoring in global health. More importantly, for the purposes of our organization, we are inspired a lot by global health principles, human rights principles. And if you could go to the next slide, please. Awesome. So basically, when we began, it was kind of a result of the pandemic. It began as a group of students who were mobilizing under one of my mentors currently, and former professor at UCLA. She was a former UNICEF child health specialist, and she's kind of inspired a lot of the principles that we're trying to use as a foundation for this nonprofit. And so we kind of decided on mobilizing around dedicating ourselves to providing assistance and delivering services to college students in Los Angeles with the greatest needs. And of course, with a big focus at UCLA. And over these last couple months, we've actually recruited a couple other students from other universities like USC. So kind of partnering with the school across the city, and as well as Harvard. And we basically have kind of focused in on 4 key things that we want to overcome barriers and access to in college students. And we kind of focused in on these 4 H's, which are hunger, health, housing, and higher education. And if you could go to the next slide, please. Okay, so this is kind of what I was talking about earlier. And so some of our guiding principles, just the fact that we've kind of like made it our focus in recruiting students from all different universities, and also especially kind of forming a partnership between UCLA and USC is kind of one of our guiding principles. And we're also really focused on human rights-based principles. And so what we kind of decided to focus on as our first project was the development of a mutual aid fund. And so this is kind of like our first project that we're getting started as a nonprofit. And we're kind of using, if you could go to the next slide, please. So what we're doing right now is establishing a mutual aid fund at UCLA. And so what this is going to kind of look like is a fund that we're going to kind of develop. We've developed a process, like a rough guideline of deadlines of what we need to accomplish and when. And so right now, this is kind of a rough version of our deadlines and what we're working on with the mutual aid fund stuff. And so right now we're kind of using inspiration. This kind of goes alongside the partnerships principles. We're using inspirations from Scripps University as well as UC Berkeley in order to kind of guide what our templates will look like in getting this off the ground. So as you can see, our first deadline is coming up soon. So there's a lot of weekly opportunities to become involved. And our contact information is on the next slide. So if you guys are interested, feel free to contact us. And thank you again for having me.